Welcome to Behind Closed Doors. We are your hosts. I'm Jared.
I'm Sam.
Give us the whatchamacallit.
What?
Why?
Oh, so we do this podcast Behind Closed Doors to share our journey in hopes that you'll find your own. We are not like the spokespeople for...
I'll do the disclaimer.
Oh, okay.
I said you do the why.
Okay. Well, that's our why. We just hope to see families make it, especially black families.
Especially our black families. And I do want to put this quick disclaimer out that we are not the authority on marriage. I do not speak for all men/husbands. She does not speak for all women/wives. And although we are one beautiful flesh, we do not speak for each other without consent. Before we get started today, I do want to issue a couple of apologies, just real quick. So I listened back to the Miami story. Mm-hmm. Boy, was it nasty the way that it was told. So I do want to apologize to my queen, first and foremost, for even having the unmitigated gall to even look upon another woman with lust in my heart. And I want to apologize for putting us in a position to look crazy, because we looked crazy.
I appreciate that.
Okay, and then I want to apologize to my main man out there. I don't believe I covered him in love like I should have. He ain't put that joint to my lips and make me smoke it. And so, I should have done a better job just keeping it on me instead of putting it off on my man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want to bring that smoke to his doorstep, and it didn't cause any. But I still want to apologize for the way I handled all parties involved.
I mean,
all right, now we can get back to it.
I mean, now I also want to say, though, we share from scars, not wounds. So nothing that we tell y'all is like open wounds. So I wouldn't have told that story if I still felt any kind of way about it. So I appreciate your apology, but I really didn't.
He said the same.
He
said the same. I apologized to him over the phone. He said the same thing. So
I ain't feel no way about it.
I did, but still.
Yeah.
You embarrassed me in public. You know, whatever that saying is about keeping the same energy.
Keep the same
Don't
energy.
apologize in private.
Yeah.
Apologize.
You make a loud mistake, make a loud apology.
Yeah, make a loud apology.
Yeah.
So that's my loud apology. Okay.
That's solid.
Let's get back to the show.
Okay. Well, again, we have somebody who reached out.
We do.
Somebody I grew up with. Love her a whole bunch. And it was more so, it wasn't a question, more so is just asking us. She just wants to hear like our perspective on this situation. So I should actually read it, but her and her husband sleep in separate rooms.
Right.
Non-traditional
sleep arrangement.
Yeah. So she said, my husband and I sleep separately. It wasn't always like this. The older we got, the louder the snoring became and the lighter sleeper she became. She said, I used to get up and leave our room. However, she used to just get up and leave the room. But eventually they basically just decided that he'll just sleep in a different room. But she says she misses him in bed, but she can't sleep with his loud ass snoring. She said she's asked him to talk to somebody about it or whatever, and he hasn't. She said they're still very intimate, but she does miss sleeping next to him. And so obviously, I don't know how often the people who watch our podcast actually share or talk with us, but I try my best to be not judgmental, because I feel like, I'm not trying to judge somebody else's way of making it. A lot of the stuff that we judge about other people is just something that they've found their way to make it through, whether it's in marriage, whether it's just personally. And to me, this is one of them things where listen, you got to find your own recipe on how to make it.
And we alluded to that on a previous episode about finding your own system.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to find what works for you to stay committed to each other.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different ways to bake a cake. It's at the end of the day, if you get to a cake, I mean, that's the goal, right? Regardless of how that
whether you put the sugar in before or after the flour, whatever it is.
Right.
I do say to the man, big dog, you got to go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
You do have to be willing to figure that out, because that could just be a health issue as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
As
So
we gain
black
weight.
men, go to the doctor.
Man.
Go to the doctor. It's okay. Go figure that out, because it could be some underlying issue that could be nipped in the bud right now.
Yep.
But you know what I'm saying? The snoring is, and what I found too, just as somebody who has gained weight and lost weight, snoring can be just a fruit issue.
Yep.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a root problem.
Yep.
So, man, go to the doctor, big dog. Go figure that out. Get you some nasal strips. I
Yeah.
wear nasal strips sometimes.
Yeah.
She just caught me with one not too long ago. So I hadn't been snoring for the most part, right? Is that what you
Not
said?
lately. Yeah, not lately. I was gonna say the other day, about a few days ago, I saw him. We popped up in the morning for something, and I looked over at you, and you had the little nose strip on, which was
did.
so funny.
I
But I was
did.
like, oh, look at him putting on a little nose strip.
Yeah, for
but
my queen.
I will say this though, he starts to snore really, really loud when he does, and it does annoy the crap out of me. But what I do is I just nudge him and push on him until he wakes up, and I was like, yo, roll over on your side, bro, because that's what it usually is. It's usually that he's on his back, and yeah, we can't do that because I got
Comfortable.
I'm with her, because I think too, as we get older, the more important sleep becomes. Like, I can't function without sleep no more. Like, I'm mid-30s, I cannot function without sleep. Like, I need my sleep, I need my rest, or I won't be good
we
for
ain't
the
robots.
next day.
We ain't robots no more. Your body don't recover the same as it did in your youth and all that type of stuff. Like, I need it.
Plus, I wanted to bring up, like, you brought this up, but that this isn't uncommon.
No, actually, somebody in a totally unrelated conversation gets up and goes to the gym at the crack of dawn, right? He gets up 3-something in the morning, 4 in the morning, and he goes to the gym. And when he gets up and goes to the gym, the noise he makes getting out of the bed and getting his stuff together will wake his wife up. And then she couldn't get back to sleep. So eventually she was like, hey, big dog, you're going to have to figure something else out. And so he'll go sleep in the guest room, especially if he knows that she has something going on. You know what I mean? He'll just go sleep in the guest room and he'll just go from there. And matter of fact, one of the guys that we make music with, he will sleep in his guest room because he comes home super late, but his wife has to wake up super early to go to work. So he goes to his guest room.
Yeah.
This ain't uncommon.
Yeah.
This is not uncommon.
It's not. And that's like, that was one of the things too, like when she shared this, one of the things she says, like, she didn't like to share it because she didn't want people to like judge it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, first of all, F them, really, because the people trying to judge, I mean, check your own house, first of all, because I'm sure there's some things that could be judged. But also, to me, this seems very like, I think the most important point is that you want to be back in the bed together. So that's the most important part about like figuring it out, because you desire to sleep next to your partner. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, in the grand scheme of things, that's like, it's very like, I don't want to make it smart or make light of something that's you know what I mean. But I think,
what you mean?
In the grand scheme of things, because I'm just saying, like, in the grand scheme of like all the other things that could be wrong in a marriage, just sleeping in a different room because of a snoring problem, like, not because you can't stand this nigga's face or nothing like that, but just because he snores loud, I don't think that's a big deal at all.
And that's not something that like a nigga wants to do.
Right.
No nigga wants to be snoring loud and disturbing his queen. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, don't play all that, playing tough. Listen, man, they want that hot dog right in the bun at night.
Oh my God.
They want that hot dog right in the bun. You know what I'm saying? Scooting up, holding something close, hot dog right in the bun. Yeah, you want that at the end of the night.
I'm so sick of him. Hot dog in the bun. He usually says, "Let me pull up on you." That's usually
to
what
put
he
the hot
says.
dog right in the bun.
Oh my God. Oh, and that was another thing I forgot. I asked because I was curious then, like, so like they have children. I was like, do the kids know? Like, is it something you keep from them? Blah, blah. Because that was something that I worried about. Like, what if the kids felt away? Like, what if they thought it meant something that it didn't? You know what I mean? So I was so happy. She was like, no, they actually talked to the kids, told them, like, you know, daddy snores is loud, mom can't rest, you know. And I thought that was so sweet.
Has she ever considered getting earplugs? No, right? Well, because why would she change something?
What? What? I just don't know. But also, I mean, that's probably uncomfortable.
How would you know?
Like having
Have you ever slept with earplugs in?
I haven't slept with them, but I've had them in, and after a while, you get sick of them being in. Like you want to snatch them things out.
Probably be the best sleep you've ever had in your life.
No, it would make me too nervous. And as a mom,
a hot dog on the grill.
As a mom too, you want to be able to have your ears open in case other noises happen in the house. Like you want to be able to like hear the kids popping up or being up. Like she has some small children, like a couple that are smaller than ours.
Oh,
like that. No, you definitely want your ears to be open. You want your wife's ears to be open because let me tell you, she's going to hear the things that you don't. Okay, you want her ears to be open, including you, fool. So yeah, I don't think earplugs is the solution. Not to me. I don't know.
Well, if their kids are small, then I mean, it is what it is. But
it kind of leads us the not being ashamed of doing or embarrassed by doing what you got to do to make your marriage make it. That kind of leads us into our myth today. So this is usually more specifically people say this kind of stuff about like things that go wrong in the marriage, like cheating or, you know, other stuff, other traumatic stuff. But they'll say leaving is easy. You know, like leaving the marriage is easy. Jared felt like leaving is easy was the more common one. I feel like I've also heard that people say staying is easy too, but that.
I'm speaking to the egregious stuff.
But yeah, so the myth today is leaving is easy. What's up? You busting it? You agreeing with it?
No, I don't believe leaving. I don't believe leaving is easy. Especially after hearing testimonials, especially from women that deal with like DV and some other abuse. Yep. They'll say a lot of times, especially niggas from the sideline, like, oh, why didn't you just leave? And they speak to sometimes how hard it is to get out of a situation. And now in the work that I'm in, you also have hints of dealing with that. So we provide wraparound services to families that may have suffered any type of violence or are susceptible to a violent environment. And some of my coworkers, they deal with people that have had to deal with those types of issues and just how hard it is for them to find like asylum. Yeah. Like, no, the perpetrator is like, he's not letting them out of their sight. He's not tracking them down. You spoke to something like that too not too long ago to me, just about in one of the areas that like you serve in the community with another person.
And that's like the thing is too is like if you depending on how long it's been going on, what they experienced in their childhood and things like that, people don't acknowledge that some of those things, even though it's dysfunctional, feel normal. You like in a weird way, the violence, because it's what they're used to, it makes them feel comfortable. So it's harmful and dangerous, but it's comfortable. But even in like, I don't want to just relegate it to that. I mean, just anything. They always say, like, I don't know, just quitting is easy or leaving is easy and stuff. And I just ultimately, I think, and I'm going to say this directly, everything is hard. Everything is hard. Yeah. And you just choose your hard. I think leaving is hard. Staying is hard. You choose your hard. being calm down. Can we be adults in the room? Jesus,
Jay,
Mary,
because we have the
Joseph.
young nigga in the room. He does that stuff.
This is what happens when you pod with a room full of men. You just cannot. You just cannot say anything. Good Lord. But Taj can relate because he's a trainer. But being fat is hard, and being fit is hard, right?
Yeah,
Well
yeah.
put.
You whether you go to the gym or not, you go into the gym. My bad, Tosh. But you going to the gym is hard, but it makes living easy. Not
Yeah.
going to the gym is easy, but it can make living hard.
Exactly.
But my bad, Tosh. What were you about to say?
No, disagreeing with you. Well put.
Yeah.
Cause and effect, man.
Yeah, it's all hard. So I hate that. I hate people looking at other folks and judging the hard they decided to choose. Like whether it's, I'm so sick of you.
Girl, what hard are you trying to
Hard.
choose?
Is that better? Like can we
Girl,
just
what hard are you trying to choose?
difficult? It's all difficult. Okay, it's all difficult. Lord have mercy. It's all difficult, and you just choosing.
Girl, you would
what
choose
you
it if
do.
it wasn't hard.
I was actually going to take this to a serious place, and you laughing and making jokes changed the whole vibe. You ruined where I was going to go with this.
It was Dre's fault initially.
No, it's your fault. He didn't put the blunt to your mouth and make you smoke it.
Woo! Touche, my nigga. Touche. All right, go ahead. My bad. Take serious us out.
No, I wasn't going to serious us out, but I was going to say, I left. I left for 6 months. So I'm not going to go into our whole separation right now, but was it 8 years ago?
9.
9 years ago. 9 years ago, I left.
Left the gub, man.
I
Come
did.
on,
I
man.
left him for
Left
6
the
months. He
king,
deserved
boy.
it. Let me say that. I was ridiculous though during that 6 months. So that's, it's all bad. But again, both is hard though. Staying in it is hard. Leaving is very hard. What was crazy, and this is one of the things I was going to bring up, that when I left, one of the things I didn't acknowledge, and I know some people aren't believers and stuff, and that's fine. You don't have to be believers to listen to our podcast. However, this is what I will say. There was during that separation, there was a spiritual, like, tearing apart that you could feel. Like, you could feel that during the separation. And that was horrible pain. That was horrible pain. Even though at the time I felt like it was what was best for me. I was choosing me right then. That separation, it felt very, I don't know how to explain it other than like raw. If you can imagine something like being ripped apart that has kind of fused together over time. That's literally how it felt spiritually and like on the inside. It felt like a tearing apart. It was horrible. And let me tell you, if you don't believe in God and you go through that kind of process, man, you believe in the one flesh situation. It definitely felt like we had come together in a way that now was being literally ripped apart. It was horrible. It felt horrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I lost 32 pounds in a month. Boy, I was a skinny shell of myself, man. Skinny shell of myself, curled up, crying myself to sleep at night.
Aww.
You were terrible, man. You were terrible to a nigga during them 6 months.
I was. However,
Terrible to them 6
he was
months.
terrible to a nigga leading up to them 6 months. That because you know what was, and what didn't give me no sympathy in that moment. What didn't give me I don't want to say didn't allow me, but why I chose not to give any kind of like understanding in that moment is leading up to that. He was always the one that would threaten me with leaving. Like it was always, you want to just be done? You want to just like it was so, he always talked so tough. It was so,
It was like that Martin episode where he was telling Gina to bounce. Then she bounced.
yeah, no, legit. Baby, no! Yes. Yeah. So when all of that stuff was happening, it looking back on it, obviously it feels and seems and is cold. But I felt like, nah, nigga, you was talking all that stuff. Nah, go figure it out. Nah, go figure it out now. Now you didn't care. You didn't care that we was saying you don't care that I ain't here. Cool. There you go. Figure it out now. It was rough. It was a rough 6 months. And then let me tell you the worst part. The worst part is going through a separation and legitimately, on my end, having zero intentions of being back together. I just did a whole bunch of stupid stuff that I felt like I'd never have to answer for. So I did me. And then after that 6 months, feeling my heart start to thaw. Because that's kind of what it felt like, too. It was like really frozen hard. Feeling it, I said hard again, but feeling it start to thaw. And then feeling like God was really turning my heart back toward my husband. That was like, oh, God, no, I'm going to have to. I always tell people it's like.
The opposite was happening.
Yeah.
The opposite was happening for me.
Yeah.
So I held on for a while. And then after a while, I was like, oh, I'm good now. Like after the first few months, and then I had no desire to come back. Like I thought we were done.
I talked him into it.
I thought we were done.
I talked him into it. He had somebody he liked at the time too, and you know what I said, Tosh? Because I'm a real nigga. You remember our conversation about when we met and what I did at Christmas?
Oh yeah,
remember?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
at Christmas.
Yeah, remember you were asking what I wanted for Christmas. I said I want you for Christmas, Jared, and I rubbed your face. Remember?
Oh, okay.
I got back into that bag, and he like really liked this person, I guess, and that he was talking to at the time. Once I came back around, and I was like, I'll never forget this. We was sitting in.
I liked feeling healthy and whole. That's what I liked. I liked feeling.
You didn't feel healthy and whole with me?
At that time, no. I'm saying no. I didn't feel
we
healthy
weren't together.
And whole. I was 170 pounds.
Man.
Yeah.
Bruh.
I was in shambles as a person. I was in total
was too.
shambles.
I was exhibiting a different way.
But you were lit in shambles.
But I lost a bunch of weight too, though. That's what's crazy.
I know, but you were out having a blast. I wasn't out necessarily just having a blast.
We separated, September 1st?
Mm-hmm.
September 1st. And by the end of October, like around my birthday, I had lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
I lost 20 pounds.
Wow.
Like that's the smallest I've been since I've started having kids. Yeah. It was during that time. And so I don't want to make it seem I was just being self-destructive in a different way. He was like self-destructive sad. I was like going hard and fast. You know what I mean? Like imagine a car wreck. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to keep saying it.
It's Dre.
But I was getting to something though, and you distracted me. I was getting to something. Oh yeah. He was talking to somebody he supposedly liked. And he was like,
how many times did you go?
He was like, up? Because it was fake. We was only separated 6 months. Like, let's be real. But
you want to do that?
What?
I'll take that bazooka right out.
I feel the same way. I'm saying, me too. These people I supposedly liked, it's the same thing. I'll do the same thing about them. Okay. But what I'm saying is, ultimately, though, I'll never forget. We were sitting in the guest room. We were talking about it, and he was just like, "I like her, like blah blah blah, like all this stuff." And I was like, and I was about to really get sad. Like we was crying and stuff, and I said, "She ain't me though." And I seen him pause for a second. That felt like the turning point. He paused for a second and was like,
"Damn."
Like, yeah. And from that moment, it's just like, you know how when you're negotiating or something and you feel like, I got in. It was that moment that I felt like, I got in. And then from that moment on, we were able to grow it. Ultimately, it was God. Let me just say that. Because I felt like I was done. He felt like he was done. It was ultimately God that brought us back around. But yeah, in that moment, I felt like, I can do this. Like we can figure this out. And then things got harder. FYI.
Yeah, things got rough.
It got worse.
Yeah, for Probably about 2 straight years.
Yeah, it got good for a second, and then it got real bad. We probably hit bottom during that time.
Yeah.
I thought that was bottom. That was not bottom, obviously.
No.
We hit bottom after that. It got
Yeah.
worse, and then we got better.
Yeah, that's a long talk.
Basically, Jared kept it right and tight during our separation, and I was going hard and fast. And then when we got back together, and just obviously,
A lot of
everything
unforgiveness
is-
in my heart. A
Yeah.
lot of unforgiveness.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that I just
and honesty.
I wasn't sleeping well at night. It was like essentially, man, it was kind of like, hey dog, like you gonna let her run around do that and you gonna take her back? Like you tripping. Like you are tripping. Like you still. Like some of that stuff. Lot of ego. Lot of ego.
Yeah.
Lot of unforgiveness. And boy, I did not make them 2 years easy.
No,
I did not make them 2 years easy.
it was rough.
That was tough.
But
So,
I mean, but on my side though, you can't. While I was in it, like I said here, like I never thought I'd have to answer for it, so I didn't give a fuck. Like, who the only person I'm answering to is God, you know. And that's what's difficult because you can't. I knew once I wanted to come back, once I felt like that was the best decision to come back, I knew like I was gonna have to buckle up, like because now I am gonna be held accountable by him for everything that I was doing and mistakes I was making and stuff.
well,
So,
I mean, this is the thing. You couldn't live with your own failure. And where did that bring you?
I'm so sick of him.
Right back to me.
And you see, for 2 years I had to deal with this ego,
With Thanos.
this ego.
Thanos, however you want to call it. Yeah, that's what she had to
But
deal
I
with
was-
Thanos for the next 2 years.
You got to pay the cost to be the boss.
You do.
You got to pay the cost
You do.
to be the boss.
You do. Now,
And that
I heard something later in a sermon that helped me get rid of all that. What I heard was, is the cross sufficient enough payment for what she did to you? And I had to sit there because she could never undo what she did. It just never was going to happen. So at some point, since I am a believer, is the cross sufficient enough payment to cover what she has done? And I had to say, yes, it is. And then, you know what I mean? And had to like totally let it go. And I'm finally now, you know what I'm saying, in the spot where I've been able to like totally let it go. And it feels good. Because
It
I'm
was
enjoying
humble.
her different now.
you know, it was humbling on both ends. I hate that I'm the one. I wish you would have brought this up. I hate the one that I'm the one bringing this up. However, I mean, up until that point, we were together for 5 years.
Yeah,
And up into that point-
Well, then let me say it. 5 years and it never had any issue that I dealt with in that 6-month period. So there's also that. She left. Like she left. So it wasn't like she was outside and lit and I was at home not knowing what was going on. No. She had left your boy. You know, she had left Thanos. You know what I'm saying? Thinking the grass was green on the other side till Mama had to come home back. Mama had to come on back home. But no, it was Jared was wrong for a very long time.
I think it's more powerful than that. I didn't have to come back. Like I didn't have to. I chose to. And I think it was because that's a God thing. And that's more powerful. I want people to know just like the power of choice, because it's different when it's something that I feel like I have to deal with and it's something that I'm choosing to deal with. So when I choose to be with, like, it's a big deal that your spouse chooses you. They don't have to. They don't have to. And that's why I'm making that distinction, it's not to be arrogant. It's to be, no, in reality, the reality is there's somebody out there that I could be married to. There's somebody out there Jared could be married to. There's somebody out there for y'all that you could do life with them too. But you're choosing each other.
Yeah.
And that's what's important. And also, what I was more so talking about with what I didn't want to bring up is like for 5 years it was rough. It was rough. And it took a long time to get me there. It was a breaking moment. I was broken. I legit broke and lost my mind for about 6 months. And that was tough because getting back together, I couldn't rationalize or understand like that ego that he was talking about he had. I felt like, nigga, it took me 5 years to get to the breaking point. I get out here and act crazy for 6 months, and you gotta get a lick back for that. So there was a lot of stuff on my side too where I felt like there should have been grace and understanding where there wasn't. But none of that has anything to do with the fact that I chose to go out and do these things. You know what I mean? And that's what, at the end of the day, that's what it has come down to. I cannot try to justify anything or try to say what I deserve.
Yeah, me and you aren't entitled to anything.
Yeah, we're not entitled to that. Like, what?
Yeah.
This ain't about what I deserve or what he should give me because he blah, blah, blah. It don't have nothing to do with him. I am a grown person who went out here and was acting a fool, and that's completely 100% on me. And that causes damage to other people that then turns around and impacts you. So them years after that was tough because I made a lot of stupid, tough decisions like that was completely up to me to deal with. And I knew I was going to have to. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's one of them things where like we talked about before, marriage being 50-50 and like, not really, it's never going to be 50-50. It's going to be like somebody's giving more, somebody's giving less. Like during our separation, he was definitely given at a level, obviously, that I wasn't. He was still praying for me. He was still trying for most of that time. He was still trying. He was still trying to do like little things and stuff like that. Like and was like holding it down, just period, just in the stuff that he was doing. Yeah. So, and that's, you know, he was given. He was probably given. It was probably like a 90-10 situation in that season. I was like, maybe 95-5.
It was more like Lysol.
99.9%. 95-5. But yeah, But thank God it only took me 6 months to get my marbles back. And then it took us a couple years to come back from that. But that's also a cautionary tale, right? 6 months cost me 2 years of just struggle and strife and a whole lot of stuff to deal with in our house.
Because you don't get to dictate. Just like I didn't get to dictate how my 5 years sitting her out, she doesn't get to dictate after that how those 6 months affect how things go when she comes back. Nobody gets to dictate consequence. Nope. You can only make the decision.
Yep.
You do not get to dictate how it impacts folk.
Yep.
So that's sometimes people be like, trying to rationalize the lick back, or the get back, or whatever you want to call it. But no, you don't get to dictate that.
Nope.
You don't get to dictate how it impacts the next person.
Nope. And ultimately, I had to decide that to love somebody unconditionally, it literally means there's no conditions. So if I want to love him at the level that I desire to love him at, I have to just that's a choice on my end, regardless of what he does or doesn't do. It is independent. My decision to love him and be with him is independent of his behavior. He doesn't have to earn my love. I've decided that I'm just going to give it regardless.
Well, let's go to a close tip.
But yeah, I didn't want to go that deep into it, but it was right there, so I figured we might as well
get it over. Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, talk about it. And for the most part, it feels like scars. Like, we're not going to, FYI, we're not going to leave here and be at odds with each other because we
Yeah,
brought up
no, it's
the
dead. It's
wretched
over with.
separation.
They said
Yeah,
it was
it's been
9
a-
years ago.
Yeah, it's almost a decade.
Yeah, it was 9 years ago. But there's been some intentional conversation and some intentional healing and
Yep.
dealing with that stuff, even independent of each other.
Yeah.
To get to a point where we can just
Had
talk
to.
about it and just move on.
Real quick, too, I'll say this as a woman. What happened to me in that 6 months was I realized that for the first 5 years of my marriage, so much of who I was and my identity, it was so wrapped up in my husband and my marriage and my kids that during that 6 months, I like rediscovered myself. It was a very horrible way, but I rediscovered myself in a way that there's a small part of me that I keep in God so that no matter what happens on the outside, whether he's here or not, because I can't control him, right? Whether whoever's here, my kids decide to grow up and disown me, I don't know, you know, but I can still withstand those things. I can still be me and have my identity because I lost myself. Without him, when I decided to leave him in my marriage, it's like I didn't know who I was anymore. And so through that process, I learned that I have to keep a little bit of who I am stored up in God. So no matter what happens on the exterior, I can still, hold fast to who I am, my character, my morals, and none of those things will be shaken just because a person is no longer in my life, or a role is no longer in my life.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Sometimes I hear things from women, I just thank God I'm a man. Because we don't desire husbandship and fatherhood the same way that they may desire that stuff for themselves. Like it's always like I wake up and I'm shocked that I'm a husband and a father. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like, no, I still feel like me. Like I feel like I've brought them into who I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like I'm lost in being a dad and a husband. I feel like I'm Jared being a husband and a dad. You know what I mean? Like it's just a part of who I am, but it's not who I am. If that makes, does that make any sense?
Yeah. And see, for me, it was the other way around. I would try to find spaces and times to still be Samantha, but I definitely was not that. And what's funny is leading up to this, you remember that because you remember I was going out of town somewhere. I think I went to Atlanta with my cousin for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I told you, I was like, I just need to wake up as just Samantha. Like it's nobody's wife, nobody's teacher, nobody's nothing. I just want to be able to wake up.
I only feel that with you.
Just Samantha.
I only feel that with you.
What do you mean?
Like, I want to be able to go somewhere and just be Jared and Samantha.
Oh, yeah.
I only feel
I
that
way
with
now.
you. I still feel like I wake up as Jared every day.
I
But
feel that
I'm
way
talking
now.
about just being like a couple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not being mom and dad.
Yeah. No, I feel that way with you now. But prior to our separation, I did not feel that way.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like being away, just me and you, was a break. It didn't feel like a break to me because it was just so hard. Just them first 5 years.
That's what can happen when you do stuff out of order. Like I said, hey, commit first. After you commit, build together, figure out newness together. For those who have done it out of order, it's too late. You're just going to have to figure it out. But for all those singles out there, hey, man, find who you are first.
Yeah.
Figure that out. Figure life out with you first. And then when you have something figured out and you feel like you can bring somebody else in, then bring somebody else in.
Yeah.
And then y'all figure, because this is what happens. Because even when dealing with couples, Jared off is Jared off. But Jared and Samantha together, they become one flesh. The couple, Jared and Samantha, may be different than Jared by himself or Samantha by herself. And that's why sometimes Samantha by herself can have friends that really rock with her, but I don't like none of them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we don't just, you know what I mean? Because Taj may be fun, but then Taj and Risha come around, and then Taj ain't fun no more. Mm-hmm. It's like you're dealing with a new person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now that you're dealing with Taj and Risha one flesh and Jared and Samantha one flesh.
Yeah.
And we may be able to hang out independently, but sometimes it'd be, all right, I'm just talking. We can cut that out.
No,
too.
what?
Yeah, you was preaching.
No,
you was
that's-
cooking.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's real.
Shout out to
because-
Jordan Bartlett
for what?
because he said that to me just not too long ago, and I just thought it was a phenomenal point of how sometimes like you could do something fire with a friend, and the minute that they're with their spouse and y'all are together, they're not fun anymore.
No, that's a fact. I feel like I was like that for years. I was super uptight around you.
Yeah.
I was way more uptight
Yeah,
around you
are
than I
way-
was just with
you
my
are-
friends.
You are always way more fun with your friends than you were when we would be together.
Yeah. Yep, I was. And that's what again, these are all pre-separation. We need like you know how they do the AD.
No, that wasn't just
BC,
pre-separation. I
like
brought that
pre-separation.
up to you.
When?
Where was it, Butter? We was waiting for your friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I brought that up to you there. That didn't just go away. So
That was
But-
that was that was slightly different. That was different. I was talking about like across the board. That particular time was just a time. Closed tip. Okay, so I saw this post. This guy was talking about, he was telling a story about him and his wife. And he was like, when they first got married, it was like one of their early anniversaries. And they had enough money to buy this couch that they really wanted or to go on a 3-day beach vacation. He was like, my wife is Spanish, you know, all about the beach. She's wanting to go to the beach. He was like, he wanted the couch because he was thinking more like, you know, practical.
Yeah.
He wanted the couch. Okay. So he said they compromised and decided to go to the beach, which is hilarious. And he said that's also why he's been married 33 years, FYI. But he said the funny thing is, he said 6 months later, they had the money again to buy the couch. They bought the couch. He said, I can't tell you a single thing about that couch. I can't tell you what color it was, what anything. We don't have it no more. Nothing. He's like, but I can tell you everything that we did on that vacation. I can tell you how much fun that we had. He was like, because we were in love and we were enjoying ourselves and we, you know, all the things. And so the closed tip today is F the couch, make memories. Okay. It doesn't seem practical in the moment to, you know, oh, we really want this rice cooker, but we could go out and have a cheap dinner, right? It's like, listen, make the memories. One, we don't know how long we'll be here. None of us do. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the way our country is being ran, Lord Jesus, you know, with like all kind of things happening, you don't know what's going to happen. So you don't know how much time you have. And the best and most precious asset that you have is time, the time you spend together, the memories that you make. Yep. And at the end of it all, I don't think I've talked about it yet, but I lost like all 3 of my grandparents in like 13 months. This was like 2 years ago. In a 13-month span, I lost all 3 of the grandparents I had. And one of the things that I know from seeing 2 of the 3 of them on their deathbed is that all you think about in the end is how you spent your time with the people that you loved. Did you spend enough? Did you not spend enough? Do you feel guilty about not spending enough? Do you wish you had done these things, blah, blah, blah? But all of it, none of it was about material things. None of it was about, none of the other stuff. It was all about relationships and how they spent that time. And so at the end of all of this, man, listen, all you're going to have is your memories and those relationships. And that's what's most important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all that matters. And this isn't saying just be irresponsible. So it's not saying be irresponsible. And the example the guy used was horrible. Who, I mean, on your end, you're choosing between a couch. Like, first of all, I never want to hear a man talking about buying a couch. That's one.
What?
I don't. I'll never want to hear about a man buying a couch. That's the craziest thing. It is. A man
can't buy a couch now? We got to add that to the list of
No, that's
things
not what
men
I'm
can't
saying.
do.
But that's not what I'm saying. But when you're talking about going on a anniversary trip, he's not talking about doing anything that seems necessary.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, bills. I would be like, our kid is about to go to college. We need to have money in the tuck for that. This is probably not the best time. We're trying to purchase a home. This is probably not the best time. But you're talking about whether we should buy a couch or go to the beach.
Well, I think his point was the beach is over in 3 days. This couch we'll have for years. Like, I think that was the thought. Is like,
That's a stupid thought.
investment-wise. I don't know.
That's a stupid thought.
I think there's people
Don't
that
ever
would
talk
agree.
about a couch as a man.
Stop.
Like buying a couch. I never want to hear you talking about that at all. That's ridiculous. That's insane to me. That's even the fact that I'm even mad that he even thought he cooked with that. Like he was like making a good point about. Sometimes I hear people's stories of marriage and relationship, and I'm just floored. I'm just floored.
Listen.
Are you ever floored? It was like when we were talking about. It's like when we were talking about whatchamacallit going through his little perceived phase.
Yeah.
And it was that.
Yeah, that's why. Listen, it's hard to judge what is like worthy of an argument for some people or some folks, or what's worthy of certain titles or whatever. It's like, I don't want to judge their
Niggas got
argument.
real life going on.
I
And you was
think-
arguing about a couch, my nigga.
I mean,
Oh my God.
I feel it. I can
Who
see
put
it.
that nigga on the gram?
Stop. No, I thought it was a great illustration though. It's a great illustration that sometimes
This is me being
Sometimes
nitpicky. I
make
understand
the
the
memories.
sentiment.
Make the
The
memories.
sentiment is what's important.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking about his example that he thought was going to be fire
Now, just a second ago, he was worried about time.
to make that point.
I just would like to make that point.
Behind closed doors,
Stop.
we love you.
Stop.
Make sure you
Don't
like,
do it
share, and
like
subscribe.
You can email us
You can
at
email us.
sharewithbcd@gmail.com.
You can.
You can also hit us up individually like a lot of people have. That's cool too. If you don't want to comment on the video, you want to tell us directly. Obviously, we will protect
Fam, please
your...
comment though.
Yeah,
Please comment. Please comment.
Like, share, and comment, please. Because obviously, Jared loves his new job, but he wants to be out of it. And, y'all know me, I do 5,000 things under the sun. It would be great to do one thing. It'd be great.
Yeah. A lot of stuff coming. I got an EP coming called Best Foot Forward. Be on the lookout for that.
By
It'll
the
be
time-
out by the time this
I
is
was
out.
gonna say
So
by the time this comes out, it'll be.
I don't have anywhere to promote via pod.
Oh my God! So they'll see this episode in November, and so your
It'll be out.
mixtape
It'll
will be
be out
out
by
a
then.
month out at this point. So
It's not a mixtape.
go download it. I mean, I'm sorry, an EP. I'm EP.
It's an
EP.
extended play.
I be trying to not call it an album because it's an EP, and then I
Yeah.
forget and call it a mixtape. But it's an EP, and it's good.
and it's
Best Foot
fire.
Forward.
Yeah, it's fire. It's
Maybe
fire.
we'll put a
lot of
link
fire
in
on
it. Maybe we'll put a link to it in here. Yeah, let's do the link.
that. For the October one.
For this.
Yeah,
one.
it'd be.
This one will come out
I'm
in
sure
November.
there'll be people who haven't heard it that'll be tuning
That's
in.
what I'm saying. That's why
Yeah.
we'll drop a link to it in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Help me get out of the shackles of employment.
Stop. 9 to 5.
All right, y'all. Peace and love.
See ya.